This is a Hot Pie Original.
You are on the Music Fringe. My name is Lee, and I'm a music dilettante, which describes a person who cultivates an area or interest in the arts without a real commitment to that art or knowledge. So basically being that I've spent a lot of time on the internet, probably more than you, and I've gone into the darkest recesses of Tumblr, YouTube, Spotify playlists, Friendster, the darknet, places that, you know, the average family should not want their children to go. I go there for you, and I bring back these gems to serve up to the people who are typically listening to the top 40 radio. Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift usually populates their top Spotify list, and we're going to give them a little bit more color in the music landscape. So on the Music Fringe, we'll be covering bounce music, butt rock, gothtronica, vaporwave, electroclash, Ethiopian acid jazz, chopped and screwed, hypnagogic, pop, C-punk, vaporwave, down-tempo, ambient, elevator music. And we're going to explore all these genres, why they're culturally relevant, what their legacy is, and who are some of the musicians that populate them. And today, we are incredibly lucky to have on Austin musician and, you know, budding rock star Billy King of Billy King and the Bad Bad Bad, sitting across from me right here.
Hello. Thank you for having me. All right. I'm excited to see what this is going to be about.
Yeah, we're totally just jumping in the deep end here. This is a Hail Mary as far as a concept of what we want to talk about. But today we're going to be talking about pirate metal and just where it came from, what that genre, if it even is a genre, as there is a big debate on the internet mostly, on Reddit mostly, with whether pirate metal is a genre or a theme of music. Is it just, if you write a song that sounds like pirates singing, is that just a theme of folk metal? Or is that just a theme? Or is that actually a subgenre? So that's one of the many contentious places that, you know, this conversation around pirate metal can go. But have you ever heard of pirate metal, or where's that on your radar?
You know, I definitely have heard what I thought were folk metal songs with a pirate theme. I didn't know that it became pirate metal.
Yeah, well, you're so wrong.
I'm clearly incorrect here. So no, it is a new genre for me.
It's a new genre for most people, because if you have been hiding under a rock, that's probably the only place you would find this genre of music. Or if you go to a lot of Renaissance fairs, I get a big Renaissance fair vibe.
I can imagine
out of that. I think there's a lot of crossover.
Right. But you got to have a turkey leg to listen.
Exactly. These song themes typically cover a diverse array of topics like ale, grog, wenches, ships. Ships are definitely a key theme in pirate metal, and they feature a lot of sea shanties. Are you familiar with sea shanties at all?
No.
So these are shanties, you know, these go back to olden times. Sailors, to keep time and to just entertain themselves, would sing on the boats. And so, you know, there are all these like old English sea shanties that still carry on today. And it usually involves, you know, a portly guy with a white beard, kind of Santa Claus looking, and it's more of a bellow. And then you have like a chorus of, you know, a lot of other burly sailormen that come in, and it's a very powerful, yeah, arg. So it incorporates, you know, parts of that, but pirate metal is just, you know, it's so complex. So, you know, where do you really start with a genre or subgenre like that? And I guess to go back to, you know, to the very beginning, which is a very good place to start, since the sound of music, we're going to go, you know, to the genesis of pirate metal, which was with a German heavy metal band called Running Wild. And in 1987, they released an album called Under the Jolly Roger. And this is the first instance of heavy metal having a pirate theme. So before we were born, there existed an album called Under the Jolly Roger that launched 1,000 ships as far as pirate metal. And that is the seed, from which the forest has grown. But leave it to the Germans to really, pioneer such a sound. And they're, for the most part, a landlocked country. So it's kind of an interesting birthplace. I don't know. When you think of pirate metal, like what country bubbles up to the surface as far as like, oh, that's pirate metal Mecca?
Right. I don't know. Norway.
Yeah, I feel like Norway would be in the running for sure. Any of those Nordic countries, really. But as far as, pirate metal goes, it still has a large following in Germany and in Scotland and in North America. And the first time it was mentioned, like I said, was in that 1987 album Under the Jolly Roger. Running Wild vocalist Rolf Kasperek first used the term in that album, and it's been referenced since. So this is a name you're going to hear a couple times, but there's a band called Ailstorm that's a Scottish pirate metal band right now. And in one of their songs, they had the lyrics, "You may think you've heard this music before. Running Wild did it back in '84, but the winds are a-changing. We don't give a damn. If you don't like it, go start your own band."
Ah.
So that was a tip of the hat to,
Yes.
the Beatles of pirate metal, and basically saying, "Hey, buds, we're gonna continue carrying this torch for you, into
a storm of ale."
Yeah, into an absolute storm of a gale force
gale?
wind.
I thought you said ale.
No, I did say ale. I think it's just so interchangeable, and I think that's one of the reasons why there's so many bands in this space is ale, gale, grog. They're very simplistic but easily rhymed terms. So
right,
maybe it's just a cop out. As far as why these bands got into it, it's just easy rhyme schemes.
Maybe they're paying homage to it.
Absolutely. We're just going to go through like a couple of the main bands in pirate metal, and just see, what they're like.
Okay.
So the first one I mentioned is Running Wild, and they've been around since the 70s. So we can look at them as just the Godfathers, the Iggy Pop, the Beatles, the Elvis of pirate metal.
Okay.
This is the frame picture that most of these bands have over their kitchen table or wherever they take their meals on the pirate ship.
Right.
Another band that's worth noting is called Lagerstein. And so Lagerstein lives up to their name as far as the partying lifestyle. When I think of pirates, I think of, scoring booty in, more ways than one, and then also getting drunk.
Correct.
A lot of drinking and seafaring. So Lagerstein.
May it be for the booty.
Exactly. They have songs like Raise Your Steins, Drink the Rum, Fountain of Rum, an album titled All for Rum and Rum for All. And it just seems like everybody's having a lot of fun in this music genre with the names and the wordplay.
And they clearly like their rum.
Right. And these guys skew a little more towards the folk metal. So again, we're going to keep coming back to this, but pirate metal is a baby between power metal and folk metal. And there's just an absolute war, an absolute slaughter going on outside these walls between those two camps and figuring out where pirate metal fits on that spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah. So, salute to everybody who's fighting that fight, and we hope it gets resolved sometime soon. Another band that's worth mentioning in pirate metal is the Dread Crew of Oddwood. And it's an all acoustic band. So they call their music heavy mahogany. Okay. So.
Yes, it's very rich.
Right. And I think that's even just a new offshoot of pirate metal is, we now have heavy mahogany, heavy wood theme bands. And they're known for being probably what the closest to a real pirate band would actually sound like and listen to.
Okay.
And they're also very popular on the Renaissance Fair circuit. So, when everything gets back to normal and you're at your local Renaissance Fair, as we do, as I try to visit at least 5 a year, keep look out for Dread Crew of Oddwood because they're out there.
Okay.
And they're hustling up a very fair living, which is playing Renaissance fairs.
Yeah.
Another great band, and this is kind of like the Beatles and Rolling Stones of pirate metal. And I would say the Rolling Stones are called, the equivalent is Swashbuckle. And so Swashbuckle is by far the heaviest band in pirate metal. They're from New Jersey. I think Jersey pirates, like if we had pirates of today, they would be from Jersey. Right. Like they're just tanned marauders with gelled hairs, that are on the coast. They don't have any qualms taking from people and, raiding settlements. And
I'm curious to what their names would be, because they clearly wouldn't have beards. They're all just so clean shaven.
Oh, yeah. It would be, Gio the Smooth. It would be
Francesco the Smooth. That's a good
Francesco the Spy Kid. You would have, Luigi the cannoli. I don't know. We're going, a place that maybe we're associating an ethnic group with pirates, but I'm Italian, and Italians had pirates too, and so I think that's historically accurate. But we digress. From Swashbuckle, the Rolling Stones of pirate metal, who are based in Jersey, and we move on to the Metallica, the Beatles of pirate metal, which is Ailstorm, and they are the most popular in the metal genre. One of their videos on YouTube, if you look it up, it's called Dig. They have 33 million, views on that.
Okay.
So whether that means anything or not.
Yeah. I mean, if you got 1 million views on anything, I feel like that's a pretty big deal, right? I don't know.
For sure.
1 million of anything.
I feel like you can, rack yourself on the edge of a swimming pool and still get 5 million.
Yeah. I'm lacking a swimming pool and the ability to rack myself on that swimming pool. So,
and that's what pirate metal does. It brings all the aquatic themes mixed with violence and drinking.
Yes.
And turns it into a music genre. But both Swashbuckle and Ailstorm are from Scotland. So it seems like the Scots have, stranglehold on pirate metal. Germans got it going, but the Scots have made it their own. They've co-opted it. And they've actually reached number 1 on the UK rock charts at a certain time.
Okay.
So for anybody who's saying, pirate metal's a gimmick and maybe there's not room for any pirate metal, maybe pirate metal's not cool anymore. You're talking about number 1 hits. You're talking about 33 million views on YouTube, and you're talking about a Renaissance fair circuit that just does not end.
Right.
It's extremely lucrative. Yeah. So Ailstorm is it. And they combine pirate theme with folk and power metal, as we talked about earlier. And there's actually a day that it's International Talk Like a Pirate Day, and I guess it's been co-opted by pirate metal to become like a pirate metal day. But September 19th, mark your calendars. That's International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you ever want to go see a pirate metal band, that would be like seeing a Celtic band, on
St. Paddy's
Day. As far as pirate metal goes, like what we've gotten into so far, is this the genre that you would, once you get home, that you would be looking up and jamming for
now I just might be, I feel like I just want to get into, a sea shanty of my own, singing with my roommates, No, I definitely just imagine just a lot of men just heartily singing and sloshing their drinks around.
Yeah,
reminds me of the Beauty and the Beast, whenever they're all in the lodge and they're all drinking.
No
one drinks like Gaston. Yeah, that
one. Nobody hits like Gaston. That's perfect. Maybe that's like another offshoot of pirate metal that came from Beauty and the Beast and Gaston, really, because Gaston, he was not a pirate. I think he fought pirates, and that he was part of like the Royal Navy or whatever. But Or what? No, he wasn't even. I'm thinking of the Little Mermaid. I'm getting my princes crossed.
Oh. Well, Gaston wasn't even a prince. The Beast was.
He was not.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The layers keep getting pulled back on this. But Gaston was never on a ship, so I got that completely wrong. But he drank like a sailor.
Yes.
And that led to a lot of issues between him and Belle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that village was very good at addressing those issues because they were very codependent on Gaston.
Yeah, absolutely.
For like raising their morale in the village because everybody's like, Gaston, you're the best of us. Like, we exhort you. We love you. And Gaston, meanwhile, is like, he's an alcoholic and he's abusive towards Belle. And he's got misogynist tendencies that just go unchecked in this little village of his. And even if he's not royalty or a prince by trade, he's kind of co-opted it in that village.
Right.
And, you know, it's a strong power play against the Beast because the Beast has the titles. Like,
yes,
you want to pull out the credentials. The Beast's like, no, this is my land.
Yeah.
Like, legit. And, you know, Gaston has nothing except like the people behind him. So it's a very populist, drunk misogynist who just sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
No, sounds like a pirate to me. I don't know.
But, you know, I digress on Beauty and the Beast. And, you know, when we talk about pirate metal, you talk about the tendency of heavy metal to at least be dark, whereas pirate metal, they do talk about drinking and murder, but they do it in an upbeat way. And they have, you know, songs like by Patty and the Rats called Join the Riot or Forest Party or Cowboys of the Sea. Those are all upbeat songs that are, you know, let's join in the revelry of, you know, plundering native peoples or taking over ships and conscripting other pirates and servicemen to do their stuff. Like, it's a pretty grim, you know, topic to be talking about. But they tend to keep it light. They tend to keep it jolly. So they've done well. Can you think of like any other genres that do that have really dark subject matter, but, you know, kind of lighten it up and make it palatable?
Yeah. What's that like style of music that like Days and Days plays, you know, that like folky punk, like that folk punk. A lot of their songs are dark, but also like in an upbeat manner, it seems.
Yeah, I love music like that. I like when you do hear like a Taylor Swift song where she talks about like maybe her homicidal fantasies. I mean, maybe I'm misreading her songs. But kind of like a Lana Del Rey type of thing where she's like, oh, she's sweet. Like, she's got cute songs. And then you like, you know, Lana's just all her songs are actually really morbid and
they are very
pretty dark.
But they're beautiful.
Yeah, but she's
beautiful.
Yeah, you gonna say that into the camera? Lana, you are absolutely gorgeous.
No.
So despite its somewhat small size, pirate metal is still very much a popular metal subgenre. And Ailstorm plays the Walken Open Air Festival every year, which is a giant heavy metal festival. Rum Ahoy and a few of these others, you know, all toured the US pretty consistently beforehand. So, you know, the deal is that pirate metal is doing pretty well right now. And, you know, when you think about some of its sister genres like Celtic metal, Nordic folk, whaler, punk, I didn't realize that there is also a genre called whaler punk.
Okay.
So it's not just if you're not a pirate, you're just out to kill whales,
right?
You know, but you're into like, you know, some gritty, like maybe anti-authoritarian, you know, upbeat, fast punk. Then there's a genre for you to spear whales to.
There you go.
Yeah. So Celtic punk, Celtic metal, Nordic folk metal, Viking metal. Like, pirate metal is not even the only seaborne music genre.
Right.
There is Viking metal. So you're literally talking about two different groups of nautical people that are raiding and pillaging that have their own styles of music, but are also vastly different.
Yeah, that sounds very Norse to me.
Right. There's mellow death. There's battle metal, so metal that's specifically
for battle only.
Yes, battle only.
You can only listen to this if you're preparing for battle.
Which is, I feel like every morning for me.
Right. Yeah. It's a battle just to get up.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking in the mirror and it's a battle. I'm at a stoplight and I look over at the guy next to me picking his nose and it's a battle. Not to just drive my car into a telephone pole, you know?
Sometimes the telephone poles just find you too. And then, that's where it gets real scary.
Yeah, man. Sometimes those telephone poles are just really wide and inviting. Sometimes that divider in the road just jumps out in front of you. At least that's what I'm telling the first responders. No, I don't need to be put in the psych ward. Don't 5150 me. This pole is just out there. Let's be real.
That is a good Van Halen album.
Which?
5150.
Oh, hell yeah. If there's ever a time to just switch gears into Van Halen, like, let's take that switch. Which, rest in peace, Eddie. He gave the world a lot. And he really just gave, like, I feel like the litmus test for a guitarist to prove their metal, pardon the pun. But if you are a serious guitarist and you learned Eruption by the time high school is over, you're like, okay, this guy could definitely at least play in a bar band for the rest of his life.
Right.
Yeah,
I was never skilled enough to get my chops to Van Halen status.
Yeah.
But our lead guitarist definitely, he's insane. So he could do it.
What was your litmus test for you to think like you were good at guitar? What did you have to play? Because I know like originally it was kind of like Brain Stew. If you could play Brain Stew by Green Day or the opening chords for Smells Like Teen Spirit. Right.
I mean, that's like, all right, I can do this. Right. The first song I ever learned was the Adams song by Blink-182. So great song. Super
I'm sorry
easy to
that
learn.
time I spilled the apple juice. All right, how's it go? Please tell mom this is not her fault.
That's right.
Yeah, dude.
That's also a pretty morbid song.
Yeah. Oh, that's so morbid. I was hoping you'd sing along with me right
there.
You left me out hanging in the wind.
I didn't know when you were going to start. The key was off. No.
Remember the time that I spilled the cup of apple juice in the hall. Please tell mom this is not her fault. Yeah.
That's so bad.
That's so sad, dude. So, oh my God, they wrote that song about one of their fans that had committed suicide, and his family wrote a letter to them and it was like, you guys meant a lot to him. And I mean, this is early Blink. Like, this is Dude Ranch. Like, they were not blowing up. Enema of the State.
Right.
Small Things hadn't hit yet. So, like, the kid who took his life was definitely, like, in early on Blink-182.
Yeah.
And that's just a sad backstory for a really beautiful song.
Yeah, it is a beautiful song. And then it was like, then you get to Stairway to Heaven, right? You got to learn Stairway to Heaven. Mostly just because anytime you go into a music store, it says, don't play Stairway to Heaven,
Denied.
So, yeah, do not play it. So it's like, well, now I have to learn this song because you're telling me no.
I always think of Wayne's World when he walks in.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude, no Stairway.
Yeah.
Denied? Oh,
denied.
She will be mine. Oh, yes.
She will be mine.
Dude, Garth, get a grip. I just want to say a couple things about these pirate metal guys. And I think that's the big story to tie it back to pirate metal is just how do these guys get into it? Are they at the Renaissance fairs and they're just like, oh my God, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life? And they go home and pick up a guitar and get into pirate metal? Or are they watching, Johnny Depp in the Pirates movies and they're just like, I like the aesthetic. How can I wear this most weekends in my life?
There was a time where I wanted to be Johnny Depp, and Captain Jack Sparrow really is who I wanted to be. Mostly because, I just thought the movies were great. Orlando Bloom was great.
Yeah, it's hot, dude.
Yeah. Keira Knightley.
Oh yeah, her too. Yeah. But
I almost wanted to say Olivia Wilde. I was like, oh, nope, wrong character.
You can throw her in there. I can just imagine her and Keira hanging out. She would have been Keira's like chambermaid.
Right.
But I could see you, I could see you as a Jack Sparrow character.
Yeah. I used to want to impersonate his walk, just the aloof, like you're always holding a glass of rum, just swirling it around.
Right. I heard he got, and I heard he got, so there's different layers to that walk because he gleaned that from Keith Richards' walk. I guess when Johnny was trying to come up with it, he was like, I want to get Keith Richards in his prime and kind of how and Keith Richards is like, come on, man, give me another fag, man. Just fag, he was always just kind of had this, he was always moving ADD, but it was also like a little, he had, heroin. So it's just very like, yeah, man, just like, kind of slurring the words. Like, you think I'm drunk, but it's really just the opiates, man.
It's just the opiates.
Yeah. So you're really impersonating Keith Richards prime.
Which that's even cooler.
Yeah. Just
the more you know.
Hey, the music Fringe is what we're talking about. And just to go back, just why these people got into pirate metal is just a fascinating wormhole into the deep psyche of a human. As to why you want to be reflecting pirate songs through the metal vessel, the vessel that is metal music. But Christopher Bowes, who's the lead singer of Ailstorm, who we said is the Beatles of pirate metal, said there's definitely a small scene, but it's not like we're exchanging notes on pirate things or discussing accordion melodies. It's rowdy. It's a party. That's the main thing. So he's saying that, they're not paying attention as much to like the accuracy around being a pirate. It's more just the spirit, which I can completely fall behind. And, he's written songs like Heavy Metal Pirates, and the lyrics are, we are heavy metal pirates. We sail across the sky in our battleships of cosmic steel. We're the terror up on high. That's just fun. That's just a lot of fun packed into a song. And apparently how Ailstorm got going is they started sharing demos on MySpace, and they sold out their first show when they started donning all pirate regalia.
Okay.
So you're also just seeing like these are normal guys that adapted to make it.
Yeah.
And this was the only way.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of the thing is that's what makes you the next level from just like a band to like a band that people want to keep going to see, you add that extra something that makes it fun for them and they want to go and kind of bask in that experience, the whole theme of it all, genre. And I don't know, like Powerman 5000, they have that look, right? And then their bass player, we opened for them one time and the bass player is just doing the robot the whole time. And I just thought it was odd and interesting, but he was like, that's what you got to do, man. You just take it to the next level. And then people go there to see that. And, he's like, that's what makes you just from a regular musician to a musician that can make a lot of money selling out shows. And I'm like, okay, so basically everyone just has to learn the robot or wear pirate clothes and you're a success, right?
I'd say so. I'm just imagining that motivational speech. Yeah, man. You just got to do what it takes. And for me, that's the robot.
Yeah.
before every show. But, gimmicks are gimmicks, but they get people through the door and money's money. Gimmicks, money's money.
See, I just don't know if I could commit to the robot ever.
But you could have your own version of that. You could have like the psychedelic worm.
Right. But I just thought that the only way was to do the robot. So
he never really outlined, he never really fleshed out his full thought on that. All we were left with is that we should be doing the robot before each set. And unfortunately, that was the wrong advice to be taken as a budding band.
Don't do the robot.
We were lampooned.
Unless you're Powerman 5000, then you can do the robot.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about Powerman real quick because they are just incredible. And I got introduced to them through the Dracula 2000 soundtrack, which is highly underrated.
It's a good one.
You got Manson and Zombie on there, but you also had, that cool wave of, 2000s. It wasn't new metal. It was a little harder than that.
Right.
Blanking on the genre name here at the Music Fringe, but Powerman 5000 was definitely part of that awesome era. I think they got
When
thrown
Worlds
in with
Collide, man. That was a really good song.
They got lumped in with Korn a lot too.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Maybe not. I don't know.
Right. We can't say. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Korn may be the last true rock band, or at least what that Rolling Stone article said. And I believe them by some of the stories that came out of Korn's Four Seasons, hotel room and their dressing rooms. Those guys took it to another level that their bassist had to become a born again Christian.
Yeah.
And, you do enough meth and partying that God finally is just like, you're coming with me. You're being called out.
You have had enough. Yeah.
But for another, just getting into some of the origins of pirate metal and where some of these bands came from, I talked about the Dread Crew of Oddwood, which is a folk metal outfit. And they played their first show at a Renaissance festival. And they were just kind of doing their own thing. And people came up to them and were like, hey, man, you sound like Ailstorm. And they didn't realize who they were. And so they kind of just came up organically and somebody slapped the pirate metal moniker on them. But they're also purists. So Wolfbeard O'Brady, who is the lead vocalist and accordion player for Dread Crew of Oddwood, said, Ailstorm, that's a great name, but they play keytar. So that's not a pirate. But then he's like, but it is what it is. And it's all new to us. So we're cool. And I know we're original. So those are shots fired. I don't know if it's like East-West hip-hop type beef, but you're definitely getting like a purist slash more gimmick. We're in it, Ailstorm. We're in it for the fun. And we're going to sell a lot more records. We're going to play bigger shows.
Yeah.
And when I sell records, I mean, we're going to stream a lot more songs. I feel like Christopher Walken over here in that skit.
Oh, I know.
We're going to sell gold records.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I did just recently read an article that Christopher Walken has never owned a computer and he doesn't have a cell phone either, like a smartphone. So he's never even sent an email, apparently. So that's crazy.
No, why? I tried to type on the BlackBerry. No.
That was pretty good.
It's not terrible, but if you got a walk-in, you only walk it out. If you got it down. And I just tried it out my walk-in with no support whatsoever. That came in cold, so sorry for that.
Well, you got my boy all wrong here.
Yeah. You do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron. But if we want to get deep into Walken, like the one thing that I hate that my friend group doesn't know about Christopher Walken, we know him from Joe Dirt and like all these other dumb movies where he has great lines, but Walken and the Deer Hunter. Have you seen Deer Hunter?
I have not.
Okay, it was a film that flopped when it came out because it's like 2.5 hours, but it's got Harvey Keitel, it's got Bobby De Niro and Christopher Walken in their prime. And they're just, some Steel Town young guys in the 70s that get called up for Vietnam. And they end up going, and it's some of the most messed up, just fucked up scenes you've ever seen about Vietnam. But I digress.
I'll have to watch this now.
Yeah, man. If you've ever heard, when somebody's like, Didi Mao, Didi Mao. That's from the POW scene with Christopher Walken and Bobby De Niro. They've been caught by the by the Viet Cong, and they're being forced to play Russian roulette. And the one guy keeps telling Christopher Walken, like, you got to do it. You got to, like, Diddy Mao, like, put the gun to your head and play the game. And it's, I won't ruin the scene because it's only a 50-year-old movie. But it's great. And I digress once again, because we're talking about pirate metal, and we're talking about bands like Rum Rebellion, which is a Portland pirate punk band. And they liked living the pirate lifestyle before they liked playing the music. And so they said, Dave Noyes, who's their lead vocalist, said it started on whitewater rafting trips that he and his friends would pack up instruments, and they would pull up to the beach, make a fire, and they would start singing sea shanties. And so after a few of the sea shanties, they decided to expound on that. And they're like, why should we keep this all to ourselves? And they ended up playing on the streets and making enough money to buy their whiskey. And they started saying when they mixed in the pirate yargs, the mosh pit would turn into, craziness with arms interlocked, slam dancing. And he would start to see punk rockers come out and play. So he's saying that there's a lot of punk rock in pirate metal, and that the anarcho culture is modern piracy.
Right.
And that's kind of the zeitgeist of, where all this pirate metal is coming from. But we're definitely seeing like a schism between people who follow the animus of pirate metal and just what it is to be a pirate, and the music's kind of secondary. And then people who are like, no, this is what pirates sound like, and here are the instruments that they should be playing, and we're going to keep everything historically accurate.
Okay.
Which side would you fall on? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
I definitely think I would be more of a historically accurate, purist type of pirate metal player if I was to make that kind of music. Now I'm kind of curious and want to dive into it, actually. And what is it like with Texas? Texas had a lot of pirates. Where does that kind of fall in with pirate metal?
That's an excellent point, because pirate Lafitte's Cove, Lafitte used to hang out in Galveston. He buried his treasure. We still haven't found that.
I know.
And I think
it's
Texas
supposed to be, millions of dollars in today's dollars.
And I think Texas pirates would have a lot to bring to the table as far as the landscape of, piracy and metal music.
So basically we need to start a pirate metal band in Texas.
Absolutely.
And have a Texas twist on it, right?
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
And I can't say it won't get trashy real quick, because that's what I imagine Texas pirates. Like, we wouldn't be fancy. We wouldn't be, English pirates. We wouldn't be like, well-dressed Norwegian pirates.
No.
We wouldn't even have like, fun accents like, a couple Boston pirates up there. We're going to fucking come in and steal your cast. We're also going to take your Stratocasters. But, I think the Texas pirates would just be like, hey, man, like, we're going down to, Rio Grande Valley, and we're just going to do warm Coors Light on the beach, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Down at Clayton's. It's the biggest patio bar in Texas.
Is it?
Yeah, in South Padre Island.
Hell yeah, that's right. That's where you're from.
Yeah.
And I want to get into, like, we're going to jump into who Billy King is inside and out. We're going to do a dissection of your personal character after I bring up this last pirate metal band.
The final pirate metal band.
Yeah, this is the final boss. And I think it's one of the most interesting ones. So it's obvious that this wouldn't be a fit with hip hop and pirate metal, but Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew just does not listen to conventionality.
Okay.
And they do not go to the beat of somebody else's drum. They beat their own leather skin drums on their boats, because that's what they do. And Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew were briefly contestants on America's Got Talent, where they were ridiculed and lost in the first round. And they just threw ridiculed in there. I'm just assuming that they were made fun of, but then simultaneously cheered for, because that's tough to walk in with Simon and you're a pirate band.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't imagine the destruction he brought upon them.
I'm sure.
But what Captain Dan has done is that he's retained the 90s golden age hip hop vibes with the pirate metal vibe. So they wrote a song about a fan called All Me Mateys Dead and Gone, which was a fan who had lost his life. And the Scurvy crew has said that being a pirate rap group, is partially being goofballs, but it's also about just honoring the people who actually love them. And in this case, there was a young man who absolutely loved the pirate rap rock of Captain Dan and the Scurvy crew. And when he lost his life, this band was, in memoriam, was nice enough, had enough empathy to create a song called All Me Mateys Dead and Gone for him. And I just think there's a deepness to some of these bands that, maybe we're just skimming over. Maybe we just think like, oh, they like dressing up and that's their fetish. And
yeah, I don't know. I think it's more than that. It seems that way.
Yeah.
Seems like a lifestyle. Because,
yeah.
You have bands like Johnny Kidd and the Pirates. That was like in the 50s. And this guy wore an eye patch and it was kind of rockabilly style music. They had this song Shakin' All Over. Got pretty popular back then. But I think they were just more like for the gimmick of it versus the lifestyle,
Yeah, and pirates aren't going anywhere. I mean,
no,
they're here. So catch the wave now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like hackers are pirates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anarcho
Right.
culture has embraced.
Or like pirate radio. Those guys were pirates.
Yeah. I feel like in a way you're kind of a pirate. And it's not just me, you're a Tao. No.
Yeah.
It's me saying that because I find a scalawag vibe to you in a way where, you make your own rules and you've kind of gone out and done your own things. And,
yeah,
you've pillaged, you've raped and pillaged without the rape. And
I hope it's without that. Yeah, ever.
I just had to make that a disclaimer.
Yeah,
because
it's
a colloquialism.
Yeah.
And we just say it, but we don't actually.
I know. Kanye sings it in one of his songs
Yeah.
to village women and children.
If there's one thing we know, if Kanye clears it, then we're good to go. And that's verifiable fact. And that's ready to go. But I do think that, you've created, kind of your own aesthetic and your own world with Billy King and the Bad, Bad, Bad. And it's, in a way, it's become more than the music. And it definitely, everything like crosses over. But when I think of Billy King and the Bad, 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 I think of, this whole world that's kind of like you're the ringmaster in it, kind of like guiding you through.
A journey.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
And, with Billy King, how did that like come to fruition with your whole aesthetic?
Yeah, so for, Billy King, it kind of, my grandfather went by Billy King. So that was like his moniker. My dad went by Murray. So he didn't really use it. And I was like, well, I feel like I'm just going to start going by that because, my grandpa did. He passed away when my dad was like very young. So I never got the chance to meet him. But, one, it's paying homage to that family, like rebellion. But mostly with it, it's kind of, it just started as a kind of a feeling of anti-establishment was like how I was starting to write these songs. And then I just incorporated, like other creatures and stories, things that I was very interested in, or conspiracies like reptilians and things like that. And I feel like reptilians are, trying to control humans, right? And so I was very fascinated with that whole idea of like taking that aspect of like, this is your journey and we're taking you on that journey of like breaking free from that confinement, basically.
And I think listeners pick up on that. It's very cinematic, what you guys put out there. Like it doesn't take a lot to start imagining some of the things that you're saying in your lyrics and just the vibe. Like you make it easy.
I try to.
So I don't have to work and use my brain.
Yeah.
But just for anybody who doesn't know, Billy King and the Bad 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 is a band based out of Austin, Texas. They are, psychedelic surf rock or surf rock from hell. I will let you describe the proper genre.
It's definitely like a surf rock from hell vibe. It's, got that good old American classic rock and roll. I like to say like classic rock, modern roll, trying to bring a new edge to it. But, it's an amalgamation of a lot of different sounds that you're definitely used to. So it like piques your interest, but it's a new take on it. I feel it's a fresh take. And even though a lot of the songs will sound different or can be about different subjects, they all have that sound that, it's us, Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You definitely have your kind of trademark sound, and it's your voice. I can hear your voice, projected out on a cruise ship, and I know exactly who that is.
It must be a pirate cruise ship, right?
Oh,
Pirate-themed cruise ship.
How many of those do you think exist? There's got to be just...
There must be 3, my matey.
I feel like cruise ships to begin with already have like a certain segment of the population, but then you throw pirate-themed cruise ship attendees.
Man, that must get wild.
Yeah. As Bill Burr says, we should start with the problem of overpopulation with addressing the cruise industry first and just start sending cruise ships out and not letting them come back. Yeah.
Don't let them port.
But no offense to anybody who does like taking cruise ships. I know it's been rough these past 9 months not being on your cruises, and we hope that Carnival, Disney, and all those brands that you like to interact with are soon resuscitated and you can enjoy your snooker and all you can eat buffets with Norwalk virus and other fun pathogens that exist on those ships that are floating petri dishes.
Right.
Let's be real.
Absolutely.
There's just evidence by this pandemic. But again,
and others.
I just want to say that, cruise ship attendees, there's no judgment being passed at this table or any table in America for that matter.
No.
About you and your lifestyle choices.
I've never been on a cruise. Always wanted to go though. We were going to go to a cruise to Alaska back in 2000. I was in 6th grade and we ended up not being able to go because SARS back then.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
do you ever think you're in the Truman Show and they're just like, oh, we don't have the budget to film in Alaska right now?
Right.
Yeah. You know it. Well, yeah. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh my goodness. That's terrible.
We're just going to have to cut
possibly
this out.
So.
Yeah. Let's just put the SARS thing on the TV for him.
There we go.
Then
I can never go.
Yeah. And then you were trying to travel and it's just like, no, it's coronavirus, dude.
I know.
And then you were trying to do something today and they're like, no, we'll have Lee come do a podcast with you. He's got to derail him. Let's have him do the fake podcast.
Getting derailed from work is pretty great to me. So
getting derailed in any regard is pretty great. I'm sorry. It was too easy to walk into and Will laid it out there. But with Billy King and the Bad Bad Bad, you guys have been growing in Austin and you started playing regional shows. And now I can drop your name at your local coffee shop. And even hipster baristas know who you guys are.
The hipster baristas do come out in droves.
There are dozens of us.
There are dozens of us. We do have a big, solid service industry crowd, which we love. I've was in the service industry for a very long time. And I feel like, just it's all a family, at least here in Austin, with that type of industry. Everyone supports each other.
Definitely. Well, with psychedelic surf rock, we've talked about this. So, this is a microgenre podcast. And, you guys kind of used that as your slogan, we're psych rock from hell. And I think that was a perfect description of what I was hearing and kind of your aesthetic, at least for that album. But you've said that maybe that's changed a bit, or, you know, so how would you describe your band? And then like, how have you struggled with, you know, describing your band and then being stuck with that label?
Oh, right. Yeah. See, because like whenever we first started, it was surf rock from hell, right? Psych, surf, rock and roll combined to form this amalgamation of what it was and still is. But, you know, one thing is describing your band, how to figure out how to make it unique. Like, how do you stand out from other bands? One thing people like to do is compare it to other bands. What's a struggle for us is comparing it to other bands. Like, I don't really know exactly who we sound like. A lot of people say like, you know, Arctic Monkeys or, you know, things like early 90s rock and roll. But I don't know if we really fit that. And I mean, one of the things that I chose Billy King and the Bad 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 for was because I felt that that type of name doesn't lock you down to a certain genre, a certain style. We're able to like kind of break the barriers and the boundaries of different styles, kind of genre bend into other things, you know, just regular traditional rock and roll, or like get more psych with it, get surfy, or just kind of experiment in other ways. I mean, pop rock is still awesome to me, so I'm not afraid of venturing into any realm.
But with this next album, so you've tried to shed like the psych rock from hell.
Yes. So definitely not really like, I wouldn't say shed it, because it's still ingrained in our roots, right?
Yeah.
So just kind of trying to move beyond it.
Yeah.
And not necessarily be held by that moniker.
Yeah, man,
even though it's still a cool moniker.
Creative, you know, freedoms are already being locked in by society, dude.
Right.
By
Society's doing this. I know.
You'd never think that they would be the culprits, but they're under our noses the whole time scheming.
Yes.
Well, what do you think about people who would like split hairs on that? There's a lot of them here in Austin. Some might call me one, but music nerds, kind of posers or musicologists, like people who love to start podcasts about microgenres.
The dilettantes of the world.
The dilettantes.
Yes.
But if, you know, if somebody starts like, no, you don't sound like psych rock from hell, I'd say you're like psychedelic surf music based, you know, in Central Texas. Like, how do you take to that?
I would just accept their opinion. I mean, I'm not going to like force somebody to believe one way or another how our music sounds. I think, you know, if I think it sounds one way, like, you know, my influences, even though we don't sound like them, like Thin Lizzy, David Bowie, Tom Petty, you know, Michael Jackson, those are like big heroes of mine. And like, you know, you think about those guys, I don't think we sound anything like them, but those are my influences. And for somebody to say that we sound one way, that's just their own opinion, man. That's just like your opinion, man.
Totally. But if somebody came up and was like, dude, you sound like Carnival Ride, you know, cotton candy music, man,
then I would just have to let them think that it's Carnival Ride cotton candy music.
You got a pretty cool head, though. I feel like, you know, a lot of musicians really like take offense on like one word goes wrong, or if it's in a byline, or, you know, I've written about music here in town, music journalism. And if you get like a genre description wrong on an artist, and they really, I mean, most people do really care about that stuff, and it really pisses them off.
I can see that.
It's life. It's almost career ending for them.
You gotta,
like, no, you filed me under this in a public forum and I'll never escape it.
Yeah. I mean, we did get a write-up that said we were country once, and I was like, okay, well, I don't think so, but okay. Maybe they're just like, maybe they're spending too much time at the White Horse and they're just listening to like a lot of blues that sounds country to them, or they think is country because they're at the White Horse.
That's the best response. Well, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, but we sure ain't country.
Nope. I reckon though it might be more whatever they feel.
I reckon you like plucking a few strings, but Woo-wee, we ain't country.
No.
We just like playing in front of the hail bales and cows. Come on now. Ain't country.
I do like country music though.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like when you ask people like, hey man, what's your favorite music? Right? I hate this conversation.
Oh,
Everybody
I know.
should hate it. But mainly you get, oh, I like everything except country.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of people say that. No, I enjoy country, but
Yeah.
I mean, I also went to Texas A&M. It was a pretty country school.
Right. You grew up in College Station, right?
Yeah. No, I grew up in the Valley,
You grew up in the
South
Valley.
Texas.
Right.
But, you know, College Station, I spent 6 years there, 4 years for school. And then I just hung around for 2 years after graduating, which honestly don't do. If you ever like go to A&M, like don't stick around just for fun because everybody moves away. And then you're just the oldest guy there. So it gets weird quick.
And then you have to start a psychedelic surf band.
And then you have to do that. Yeah.
To get outside and get into Austin and make it happen.
Indeed.
But yeah, I think when, a lot of people, it's not very nuanced conversation. They're just like, I just hate country and I love everything else. It's like, do you love everything else? Do you love, analog Brian Eno synths? Do you love plant growing music, Plantasia music? Do you, are you really into that?
No.
And then
elevator music.
Do you really hate all of Johnny
music?
Cash? Like, do you really hate like outlaw country? Do you really hate every Reba song?
Country?
Well, you'd outlaw
know.
country.
Outlaw country.
I call it outlaw country.
Yeah.
But also you can listen to like Reba's whole catalog and it's like, if you can't find one song in there that you don't like you ain't living.
I know.
You ain't living.
I mean, if you don't like Hank Williams Jr. Family Tradition, I don't know who you are then.
Yeah. You best present an ID for him, sir, because you ain't from Texas.
You ain't from Texas.
If you had to say, like, what is your guiltiest pleasure in music taste?
Music taste, yeah. Definitely into all of that. I was born in 89, right? So like a lot of the 90s boy bands. I was definitely into Backstreet Boys over NSYNC, although Justin Timberlake on his own, love him,
Who doesn't, yeah.
But, Spice Girls for sure, still guilty pleasure,
All the girls around the world.
That's right.
Spice up your life.
Are you ready to spice up your life?
Yeah, I was ready for Spice World. Having an older sister, I had to watch that movie a relentless amount of times.
I had 4 sisters, 4 brothers. So all the girls in my family, they loved Spice Girls.
Yeah, we just skipped over. You're from a family of 9.
Yeah.
I had no idea. How was it being a Jehovah's Witness?
It was what it was.
Wait, you are really?
No, not really. No, I had one immediate brother and sister, and then a half brother, half sister, 2 stepbrothers, 2 stepsisters. So we had the big old family.
Yeah, you got diluted siblings.
Yeah, but they're still full.
No.
I will take them to the death.
Drive a wedge between you and your families.
That's right.
Especially right before Christmas. Like, not the best timing. And by diluted siblings, that is not a pejorative or derogatory term. That's just my way of generalizing.
Right.
Diluted
Through marriage.
siblings. Well, that's wild, man. So you pretty much came up like the Jacksons.
Yeah.
And like the Wayans brothers too, and other awesome big families.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Very interesting.
Well,
always a lot of people around.
Yeah. So you're talking about your guiltiest pleasures, like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, boy bands.
Right.
Now you have 5 boys. You just said that.
Yeah.
4
I guess
brothers.
we could have started our own boy band.
Well, you could have been like the Keystone band member and just had like the all 4 girl
of the Jackson 5.
Yes.
Boom.
Absolutely. If only your father had been more abusive and music oriented.
Right. I know. It was about to get real dark.
You totally missed out, man. This abusive childhood could have gotten you.
Abusive
record.
childhoods are very not fun. So I'm glad that, mine wasn't too abusive.
Yeah. Shout out to anybody who had an abusive childhood.
Mine was pretty interesting. That's for sure.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was boring.
That's good. At least it was boring.
Just
and
left
perfect.
me in my own head, which is almost worse.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, no, it's not worse.
No.
But yeah, man. Do you want to get into your childhood stuff? Or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My childhood was it was pretty great. I was always the optimist of my family, you know.
Okay.
So pretty much always in an upbeat, good mood. It was very rare to like really kind of piss me off. But whenever you do upset me, like you better watch out because I'm gonna, you know, throw fire at you.
Yeah.
Aries, right? And so
Totally.
No, but you know, let's see. My stepdad loved to spar, what he called sparring, but it was really just, you know, beating up on you until finally you're able to kick their ass, and then once you're able to beat up on them, then it's not so fun for them anymore.
Right.
And then,
totally.
Then they finally kind of stop.
Yeah. I have an elder brother who's 18 months older, and so he whooped my butt up and down, especially when he went through puberty and I was left behind. Like that couple of years was just like absolute, just got torch ground up into me, just beatings. But then, you know, little he caught up. And then I was bigger than him. And that's when it like, during that period of you're still figuring out like what those dynamics are, and you're like, I think I'm bigger than you, but like let me put it into practice. Like you still don't know like your own strength, and, like how brutal you can be.
Totally.
And you're in this teenage caveman brain where it's
and
just
you're
like, you called me a pizza face.
Yeah. Pizza face.
You know?
All that, man.
Yeah, it got really vicious. So you have to find like a homeostasis, but it's not through, it's like a lot of blood and sweat and tears that finally gets reached, because you know, we're animals, man, and even siblings, it's just like we're torching each other.
Well, you just have all that pent up you've just been tormented for so long, and then finally you're able to like stand up for yourself. You're not aware of your strength.
He split my head open with his braces once, jumping off a top bunk. Hit me in the face with an aluminum bat once.
Wow.
And knocked out a few teeth.
Wow.
Dude, the guy was a straight savage, and I love him today, and he's not the savage he once was. He has a son, and he lives in Jersey Village, Texas, and he's a sweetheart. But man, were there some years. Didn't know if it was going to turn into, you know, he could have been a serial killer locked up in Huntsville right now, or he could have been the nice man that he is today, but you wouldn't know in those years. Yeah,
I've definitely been hit in the face with a broom handle that definitely had no end cap on it, and it was just metal, rusty metal. So I got to get a tetanus shot after that. That was fun. No, that's just right under the chin.
That's the fun double whammy, like when you get injured and you're like, and it was rusty. God.
Yeah, and you're like 11 or so, and your mom's like, we're getting a tetanus shot. Let's go.
Yeah. And you're like, no, I got it 6 years ago.
Right.
And they're like, nope.
And now you're supposed to get it every 10 years, right? Or 8 years? I don't know. Either way.
I think as a kid, it was like, it was shorter.
Every 10 years. Yeah.
But now as an adult, it's 10 years.
I don't know. I know it's been over 10 years since I've gotten one.
Yeah.
And I've definitely cut myself on rusty things.
Totally, dude. Yeah. It happens all the time.
You know, it's just.
But I don't want another big shot.
I don't either.
You know?
They definitely like get your arms sore, you know?
Oh, yeah, dude. I remember I'm at summer camp and I step on a rusty nail and they're like, oh, we got to take you into town, which is like, oh, shit, it's serious. Like, camp nurse can't handle this. They got to take me into like this shitty little, you know, we're in Trinity, Texas. Shout out Trinity, Texas, Camp Olympia. And we go in and the guy's like, hey man, like you need a tetanus shot because you stepped on a rusty nail. I was like, no. Like I got one like a few months ago, you need to check. And he's like, sorry, man, your hospital, your provider's not picking up. Your mom's not picking up. Like, we're just going to have to stick you. And so I'm in this like little shabby, like 1-horse town, you know, doctor's office. And he's whipping out the biggest needle you've ever seen in your life. And I'm just like this little 11-year-old who's just like, no, like keep calling my mom. I swear to God, I have. And it was like out of the movies, dude. He's like about to stick me and the phone rings. I'm like, brr, brr. He's like, okay, he's got it. It's like, all right, we got your records. You don't need it.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's incredible. But also, you know, that kind of torment, that's what turns us into musicians. So
yeah,
I feel like tormented children are always the musicians, right? Or the artists.
That's true. Yeah. They're either in Huntsville serving 20 to life or they're artists.
Oh, this is sad truth.
Yeah. But, you know, so you could have done like a lot of like boy band and girl band stuff with,
you know, I missed out on that opportunity. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, definitely whenever I was into all that, Aaron Carter was popular and I was the same age as Aaron Carter. And I was like, I could be Aaron Carter.
Yeah. He aged like wine, by the way.
Yeah.
He's just awesome today. No.
No. I thought that was the opposite.
Yeah, I think he's on meth and he thinks everydu's out to get him.
Yeah, I think he aged like Mad Dog 2020. You know, it's not good after 1 year.
Yeah, dude, I didn't know. MD 2020 expires?
I don't know, actually.
Oh, wow.
But that flavor, I don't want to drink
Once
it. Once
I popped the cap, it hasn't lasted 20 minutes. So, yeah, I wouldn't know.
That's right.
What is your... I'll just say it, like, who you fucking to?
You know,
what's some good music? What's some sensual jams? It doesn't even have to be sensual because sex doesn't have to be sensual. But
yeah, well, Kid Cudi did just release his Man on the Moon 3 album.
Okay.
That was actually really good. I was super into that. What else this year? This band Dracula's, they're here in Austin. They're like a punk
it's like
rock.
Mike Wiebe.
Yeah, Mike Wiebe of Riverboat Gamblers, and then the guitarist of Rise Against. They have this new album, Terminal Amusements. That's probably my favorite album of the year, I would say. It's pretty awesome, actually. And all the songs are real short, so you could listen to the whole album in like 34 minutes, you know?
That's
something
sick,
like
dude.
that.
It's always weird saying that like you're fucking to somebody whose band is here in town because then you're like, you see him, hey man, I lay my lady to you. You know, like your voice caresses both of our ears.
No, I mean,
embrace.
Definitely for that, it's got to be Frank Ocean, you know, or like Cocoa Butter Kisses, you know, Chance the Rapper.
There you go. Do you go back to Channel Orange?
Yeah, Channel Orange for sure. That album is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. It's so good. The whole thing, front to back. That's probably, there's like, it's a rare thing for me to find an album that I'm like, this is just a banger from front to back. Like I could listen to it all the way through and not have any complaint about any minute of this, like the whole album. And that's probably one of the few ones. Jungle. I really like Jungle's album, Jungle.
Yeah.
By Jungle.
Jungle by Jungle by Jungle.
Jungle.
Yeah, no, Jungle's great.
Yeah.
But they're an all-white band from UK, and you just would never know that by listening to them because they sound so soulful. And then they go on tour, and you know they bring this live band with them. But the two guys writing the songs are just very musically proficient. You know, soul fans. They're just a couple of British boys that were raised on the Motown. Like, you know, we just really like the sounds coming out of Detroit in the 70s and. That's Jungle. It's pretty cool. Yeah. But I agree with you, like on Frank Ocean's Channel Orange, that's back-to-back banger. And even when you think there's a song that's like, oh, this is like the one that I would skip, you end up like
listening to it.
It took like 3 more plays.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So that's awesome, dude. Your lady gets laid to some pretty dope music is what it sounds like. So.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear that for her. If you were to create like a Franken baby of music of just like all your favorite music genres without regard to actually if it would sound like good or not, like,
you know,
what would you like to hear?
Like Thin Lizzy meets Chicago, or like, you know, Crosby, Stills and Nash, like the harmonies of that with like incredible solos like Van Halen. You know, something like that. Just incredible harmonies and incredible shredding together. Dude. So like, I would love to do that.
I would love craft shredded, you know, 1970s pseudo Japanese aquifer music.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going off on you know,
like
different.
were you talking that you like the band Aqua?
Barbie girl.
That is their
yeah. Of course, dude. One hit wonder.
One hit.
They were German as well.
Yeah.
So Germany has both pirate metal and Barbie.
Which is
Barbie
interesting
doll.
that Germany is so into pirate metal. Do they even border a body of water?
Well, that's what I said. They're
don't,
landlocked, but they
Yeah.
have ports.
Okay.
Because I know there's always been the German Navy. The
Right.
Reichskrag. We all know about the German Navy, okay? They were very dominant, up until like the 40s, and then something happened. Not sure what. We lost a few ships in the span of years. I'm not sure what happened to all the sailors. But they have port towns, so they definitely have the Navy still. But it's not like everybody lives like looking out into the ocean and just like, oh, I wish I was a little pirate boy. You know, like nobody's, growing up thinking that way. So they really have to use their imagination. But Germans, that's just a whole nother podcast to get into like how weird Germans are. Like, let's be real with that. But they have amusement parks that are dedicated to American, like Native Americans. Like they really get off on Indian cowboy culture. So you can go over there and they have like Disney worlds that are specifically built to look like Western towns. And they have
Interesting.
It's a intense fascination with like Native Americans and the Wild West and just that whole era.
Yeah.
I remember, I took a Euro trip in college and I didn't know anything at the time, but I was in Switzerland, the German speaking part. It's just a dumb American. And I was on the train. And of course, like the Swiss are so rich. This lady just like hands me like, oh, here's, 20 euro. I love Americans like enjoy it. It's like, oh, well, in Switzerland, that only buys like 2 cups of coffee because it's super cheap. But I remember her saying like, oh, our children are studying the cowboy and Indians. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, in America, the Wild West. And it's like, that's part of the Swiss
history.
Yeah, like elementary school curriculum that you guys learn about cowboys and Indians. She's like, oh, it's so fascinating. It's our favorite part. Like, so anyway.
Interesting.
That was like an anecdote from a long time ago, but it shines some light on how weird the Germans are with their fetishes.
I mean, I was told that if I ever go there to say that I'm from Texas and not from America, because they'll appreciate that so much more.
Totes.
I had a German foreign exchange student live with me for like 6 months when I was in college. And that's what he told me. He was just like, if you ever go, just say you're from Texas and they'll treat you right.
Just show them your Texan ID and they'll show you where the barbecue's out back.
I don't know if I want to try German barbecue. That's for sure. Well, no, actually, their sausages, I'm sure they're incredible.
No, what I'll say is Bavaria is a lot like Texas because they like Bavarians associate themselves Bavarians over Germans. So like we're Texans over Americans usually. But Bavaria is also like an autonomous state. And like they have their own culture and it's very bucolic. And like they do have like that whole outdoor beer garden culture that honestly has been imprinted throughout Texas. Like, Austin has Sangaroon Hall. We've got Schultz Garden, like all the beer garden cultures here. But anyway, I'd say like Texans and at least Bavarians are very analogous and our cultures and stuff. But weren't we talking about pirate metal?
We were talking about pirate metal.
What we were talking about the Frankenbaby of music that you would make.
Oh yeah. And that was like Thin Lizzy meets Chicago, right? Right. So like something where, like basically Crosby, Stills and Nash, the harmonies of those guys meets the guitarmonies of Van Halen. Gotcha. So lots of harmonization from guitarmonies and vocals.
Guitarmonies and vocals. Gotcha.
Yes, guitarmony.
So like yacht rock.
No, I mean, I guess. No. Yes. But I mean, yes and no. It's like more upbeat, I guess. Would they be considered yacht rock, Crosby, Stills and Nash?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
I don't think David Crosby. Actually, David Crosby's such a real OG.
I thought it was just going to be like, what was that? Little River Band or Reminiscing?
For yacht rock?
Yeah.
Like who they are.
And reminiscing.
You've got a bunch of like yacht rock bands. Who am I thinking of?
If only I could afford a yacht.
Yeah, exactly. It's just Andy Samberg screaming. Right. That's yacht rock. But a couple scenarios just to throw out there. Like if you accidentally found a body in your house this morning and you're like, oh my God, like how did this happen? And you're burying it out back because you just don't have time. So you're burying it in your backyard. Like what music is going to help you like conceptualize what's happening? And like what soundtrack are you playing as like,
I'm burying a body
gets put over his or her face?
Yeah, you know, it would probably be like that the Ode Fortuna or whatever. You know what I'm talking about in the war movies?
Yeah.
This is our Zion.
Yeah.
Dun, dun. And I'm just like, you know, shoveling to the beat of this
I'm trying
weird
to think
like
what it was.
bass opera.
Yeah. Was it the one it was in Gladiator? Yeah. This is tough.
I don't know.
There's a few of those songs that like, you know, are found throughout a lot of movies.
Right. That one is on a lot of movies, you know, like definitely in those World War II movies, it seems.
I was reading about the guy who wrote that Requiem for a Dream. Da-dun, da-dun-dun-dun, da-dun-dun-dun,
yeah.
Da-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
And what did he say?
No, so he wrote it and it was like, oh, it was a great piece, and they didn't win any awards for it, but now it's used in sports arenas. It's used, it's used to hype people up like everywhere and for everything. It's used in short films. So that's like a contemporary dude, you know, who wrote this classical piece that's unbelievable. But then you got to think about like, I think the one you're talking about, some of these more classic pieces have just been injected into pop culture and continue to be recycled through. But that's a very classy choice to bury a body to, I think.
You know, it's it beats Metallica.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess it's like just
one from Metallica, just the helicopters. And I'm like, you know.
Yeah, I could see you like, you know, in a long pea coat, like maybe you shed one tear, but it's like,
yes,
you're still like holding strong and just bearing, and you just know it's what has to be done.
Funny story. That did just happen to me this morning. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's like, dude, so sorry for your pet.
Yeah. Oh God.
I was like, oh my God, did we hit a nerve?
No.
What about if somebody comes up to you and is like, hey man, I figured out that like to summon pagan gods, you just got to play like the right type of music over and over. And you got to do it in like this ritual. But if you play this music, you'll get a pagan god who will come and hang out with you. So what music would you want to use to call that pagan god? Because depending on what music you use, a different god could come.
I would use the music that I write.
Yeah.
And I would summon them. And then I would admit to myself that I should have never summoned them.
What have I done?
Yes. Be like, oh my goodness, how could I have created such music that had summoned this demon?
Yeah.
Or a god. He's a god, right? I guess.
He's a god.
Unless it's, you know, Krampus. If Krampus came, then we're all just effed.
You're saying he wouldn't be a benevolent god? He would probably be one of destruction. Or what do you think?
It depends.
What do you think?
Right? I mean, if you played beautiful music, like that one cello song that's like dun 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 dun. That one that everyone plays in all their movies too. You know, that might draw some sort of goddess of the sea. Who knows?
It's kind of like, what is your animus, or what is it in Harry Potter? What is your Horcrux? It's not your Horcrux.
No,
your Patronus.
Yeah, your Patronus.
What is your band Patronus?
That's an interesting one.
I didn't think I'd be answering Harry Potter questions today.
No, I do love Harry Potter. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Yes. You know, what would be your familiar, right? Like, you know, if you had an owl, or what would ours be? I don't know. Werewolf, wolfman.
Yeah, it's a curious one to think about for sure. I think if you played pirate metal and if you summoned that Patronus, it would probably be a Kraken. It would probably be a Leviathan from the deep.
Or just Davy Jones himself.
Yeah.
Just all gruesome looking.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Davy Jones has been corrupted by those movies. Is Davy Jones supposed to look like that?
I don't know.
An octopus face?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, he's just been trapped in his locker for, you know, millennia.
Gotcha. I had to get to the root of the etymology.
I'll send you to Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah. That's so badass. I think pirate metal songs should start like that.
Yeah.
You know, just like summoning like, you know, leviathans from the deep and
maybe
ominous callings like that.
Maybe that's going to be the I guess the birth of Texas pirate rock, pirate metal.
And I think Texas pirate metal is definitely like something that the people need. Because when you think about what do people need right now, PPE, maybe vaccines, like we've got a pandemic going. People need like virtual options because we haven't been able to meet. And then people need pirate metal because we've kind of lost faith in ourselves, and we've lost faith in maybe how we treat ourselves and how society like is supposed to treat each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot of the time, you know, music can help reinstill that because it reminds us the better parts of ourselves. And, you know, another human is capable of this and creating that joy. And you can see that reflected. I think that's what I miss about live music the most is that you listen to some music. Of course, it lights you up, you know,
right?
How
the
you
unity.
love it. But exactly the unity, but also just the people watching that goes with like that tempo change just hit that person the same way it did me.
Oh,
They did the same thing.
The raw emotion.
Yeah. So just seeing it like wash over people. And, you know, when we talk about just like how much pain and struggle and, you know, just misery is happening right now in the world with everything that's going on. You know, pirate metal may just be like the inoculation, may just be the vaccine to bring people together and to get them just, you know, sharing a Steiner of grog and singing socially distanced, but still singing with the mask on, you know, in a very raucous and, you know, seaworthy setting. Like I'm just prognosticating here.
Yeah.
I'm just projecting into the future, but I'm just saying here are some things that people in society needs right now.
And that's pirate metal.
Pirate metal is on that list. But I do want to thank you for being on the podcast today. It's our inaugural podcast. So this could have absolutely gone down in flames and, you know, it might have, but
no,
I had a lot of fun talking to you.
I enjoyed it as well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
And is there anything going on with Billy King and the Bad 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 that we should know about?
You know, as of right now, we did just release our new album, Stealing Your Potential, on Halloween. So it's been out for a hot minute, but still go check it out. We're about to be releasing a couple new music videos here in the next 2 months. And then as well, we do have a show at Far Out Lounge on January 30th, which is a Saturday, permitting that you know, the numbers don't go up too incredibly high. You know, we're definitely going to keep a close eye on that. It's a socially distant, mask required, table seating only type of show. But it's all outdoors too. So that's nice as well.
Nice. I like to feel comfortable while hearing, you know, surf rock from hell. So
yeah, it is interesting.
I need to be safe and socially distanced and outside. And you guys provide that, which is what I love.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being on, and thanks for joining us on the Music Fringe, the Music Fringe. And, you know, next time we'll talk about neo-aquafer Greco-Roman wrestling music. You don't know.
Who knows?
You just don't know where it's coming from.
Yes.
Certainly not from this guy.
The world may never know.
Anyway, signing off. Deuces. I don't know how else to end it. But
peace out.
Peace, brother. Peace be with you.
Yeah.
And also with you.
And also with you.
And also with you.
And me too.
Hey, what about me? Me too. Me too.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.